Let's do this. We are the Chad and Cheese Podcast. I'm your co-host, Joel Cheeseman. Joined as always, Chad Sowash is in the house as we welcome Stefan Youngblood, founder and CEO of Black AI Think Tank and HireBlack.com. Stefan, welcome to HR's Most Dangerous
It's good to
podcast.
be here. Most dangerous? Did you say dangerous?
Yes.
Oh, shoot.
It's
I didn't know all of this.
HR. It's a very low bar, but yes.
Hey, I asked AI something about me, about Stefan Youngblood, and it says Stefan Youngblood is a low-lying disruptor. And if you just look at low-lying, man, that's not good. But then I said,
it's like a sniper.
Can you tell me what low-lying means? Like I'm this. And they explain like it's a good thing. You don't, not that level, but you do a lot of disrupting. And disrupting is my thing.
Well, so AI Think Tank.
Yeah.
What was the genesis? Why?
Yeah.
What do you do? Give us some background.
So here it is. When the Metaverse started really taking off,
The Metaverse. Joel is already excited.
I've got a question right
He's
now.
excited. He's
Keep
excited.
going.
Okay.
Introduce us to
I'm going to give you a lot.
universe.
I'm teeing you up for everything. So when the Metaverse started taking off, I saw what was happening. I'm in groups, online with some folks. But it just didn't seem like there was much of the black community that was there. One day on a social media called Clubhouse, I literally started a room, Black Metaverse. One person came. The next room was 1,000 people showed up to talk about it. Like, what is this thing? Some people who are doing extraordinary things in it. It grew and grew. 6,000 people in an ecosystem. On the back end of that, as we went through NFTs and everything, this ecosystem is growing. AI hit very strongly, and we saw an emphasis on NFTs kind of nosedive a bit, but AI really blasted off. Everybody I know that was involved with things like Metaverse put it on hold right now, and it's definitely on hold, and AI just blasted in. So I switched from that room, which I still have in Clubhouse of Black Metaverse, and started a thing called Chat GPT for Beginners. Now, I want y'all to know the reason I started that is, let's see, Sam Altman released it on November 30th. Some very smart people started hacking into some dangerous places in my proximity, and I didn't like it. It was, I don't understand, but I think you all are doing some bad things. And they weren't bad people. They just wanted to see what we can do as hackers. And I thought I needed to leave that room. That's when I started ChatGPT for Beginners. It blew up to 12,000 people. Then I moved it over to LinkedIn, and we call it Black AI Think Tank. The first time I launched it, I say, hey, guys, let's meet 7 o'clock on Thursday. 400 people show up. Just like that.
The first one?
First one. 400 people
400
showed
people.
up.
Now, this is online. Is it like a Zoom or?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. It's LinkedIn
Clubhouse,
audio.
which I didn't think was still
so
around.
you're-
either.
Well, Clubhouse is around, dude. It's actually making a small resurgence. You can do a lot through there. It's very interesting. So I started there, still have a crowd, an audience there, but I just use LinkedIn audio. And it's kind of easy for people because you can walk around doing it. So 600 people the second time we got together. And I sort of have it streamed between Clubhouse and LinkedIn.
What's your background before you were doing all this AI stuff? Because you've been at this for a long time.
He was a
sort of
hippie.
Don't go back to the time when you had bumper stickers on a wooden.
Wait, you told him that?
That's your
It's
presentation.
like he was a hippie.
He was a
I
hippie.
was his afro and
from hippie to now. What was sort of your passion and your
It's really so I've been doing like church activity. I've been taking gospel type things around the world, but mostly in a socio-economic, really philanthropy. Every country I go to, I'm looking for how I can create relationships that tie it into people. Haiti, an earthquake happens. 6 weeks later, I'm there on top of an orphanage to connect a group of people in North Carolina to help build a water system. And because I connected it in Skype, we can see each other in real time. We were looking for $10,000, and they came up with $30,000 to build this system and a house. After Cyclone Nargis in Burma, I was in there kind of following some music projects that I was doing. And again, it was connecting people across the world. So Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. And I settled down in St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, stayed there teaching. And I was teaching elementary school and decided.
What have you not done, Stefan?
So it's a
Good gracious! I mean, you've done a lot all
Yeah.
over the place, and it sounds like
Yeah.
the connection is people,
yes.
right?
Oh, this is good.
And connecting people.
This is it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and so because the
It's good.
clubhouse, right?
Yeah.
You were connecting people.
Yeah,
in
connecting
Clubhouse,
people.
in the metaverse.
Yeah,
right.
that's it. That it's kind of weird. Gary shows up, who's here with OutSolve. He knows what we're doing.
Yeah.
I hear the story about his son. That relationship really took off. He actually said, Stefan, I actually brought in HireBlack.com, not because of that, because of you. It's really, I get what you're saying. And when you say, what have you not done? I'm like a strange guy. So Mount Everest, yeah, I've been there, done that. You know, I did Mount Everest base camp, hired a Sherpa, and learned all these stories. But these stories, they're kind of, I'll just tell you, this happened last year. I play the piano. A music store calls me because they sold this really high-end piano, and the owner wants piano lessons. They don't play very well. I'm watching what I say here. And he says, Stefan, it's this guy, you know, he's kind of young. He does rap music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think he has some CDs out, and he wants somebody he can trust to come in his place. Would you be interested in giving him some lessons, and maybe you could be a kind of a good impression on him? He's like a rapper or something. He kept mentioning that his name is Jermaine, and would you mind if I had him call you? And I was putting two and two together. Who could afford that piano he got? His name is Jermaine. I thought, is he talking about J. Cole? And sure enough, I get a phone call, and it's J. Cole wanting me to come and give him piano lessons. Dude, this is absolutely crazy. But I was in a business meeting in my kitchen at the time on Zoom, and J. Cole, I knew it was him. And I said, Jay, man, I'm sorry. I got a meeting that I have to stay in right now. And it was just wild to have to tell this, you know, he's at the epitome in the rap game right now. But we met, and then it ended up in his basement in his studio just talking about fatherhood and life. And I'll tell you this, I haven't told this whole story, but Jay wanted to know everything about the mountain, you know, 18,000 feet that we went up to. What are lessons that you learned? What was that like? And I went back home and told my son, number one, he didn't believe me. So you spent the last 2.5 hours with J. Cole. Yeah. He said, I said, he's going to say something about mountains on his next CD. I know it for sure, because he was just embracing, engulfing this thing. And I'll tell you too, it would not be good for a lot of rappers or people in the industry to hang out with the AI guy too much, because they're instantly going to say, oh, that guy's probably helping him with AI. His new rap, you know, he didn't make those lyrics. Yeah, it's
because AI is getting into music.
Yeah. Oh man, Suno and Udio,
Yeah.
they're going after it right now, because people can create music with a.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, here's something. No, you go. You got a question. I was going to tell you something
I
else.
want to hear about Hire Black, what the mission is and what you guys do
Yeah.
on that website.
Yeah. So I have a nonprofit. It's called Help Anyway. If you go to helpanyway.com, it's all this kind of work we do with homeless. It started in jobs in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're kind of a tech hub now. They call it RD, Research Triangle. And there were opportunities for some people that weren't there for people of color. So I'll tell you this, Morehouse College, Robert Smith, a famous billionaire, decided to pay off the tuition of these 396 men a few years ago. And I thought, these guys need to be found. What if there was a website that had like a grid, you know, a setup grid, and it was these faces. It's an all-black college. This many men who've been to school and are now, some of them getting out in the job market. What if there was a way to find them? And what if there were companies clicked on it and you got to see their LinkedIn? That's where the vibe came from. And it isn't a Google GoDaddy. You have to kind of invest. So we invested in HireBlack. The first people that came wanted to actually rent the domain and just collect data on it. But we wanted to build something that would do some good. And a couple of guys came in that really helped. One guy was from Monster.com, former VP for them, that helped us to get it up and rolling. And then a career builder came in and was giving us 200,000 jobs. This was coming through and Broadbean with Gary, who's here.
Yep.
Yeah, so got it really populated. And then one of the Broadbean ended up getting sort of bought by Veritone, and things happened. Yeah, so we're starting to rebuild it now with AI attached to it. But our Black AI think tank is, it kind of all weaves together.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there a connection now where, I mean, you're focusing heavily on the AI side. What's the journey look like for you? Do you know? Because it sounds like this is like a big community.
Yeah, keep going. It's a big community and ecosystem, and they're connecting like crazy. Some of the people who are doing some great things came through the Black AI think tank and ChatGPT for beginners. One guy calls me like 4 weeks ago. He said, Stefan, man, you're not going to believe this. And he's just a young guy. He said, they just put me in Time magazine. I said, what? He was one of the kids that was with us. He said, the top 100 AI innovators in the world. The magazine came out last month, and they put me in there. All he does is he's mixing these mixtapes of like old school 60s type hip hop, soul. He kind of sings with it, and he uses those two platforms. And he somehow makes this his own, but people hear those undertones of old style music. His mashups have gotten so big. Drake ended up putting some of his stuff on one of Drake's records. So he got noticed by Will Smith, the whole industry. So he went from a guy just, what are these cool tools, to a top innovator in the world in Time magazine. So Black AI Think Tank has had a lot of folks come through there that are connecting with people. One of our lecturers who speaks very often, she is the vice president for the Chamber of Commerce for the United States, and she works in actually bringing AI into that branch. So it's kind of a who's who of people in there. Tesla folks, Microsoft, Google. It's helping the Black community. We also launched the first ever National Black AI Literacy Week. That was the week before Juneteenth. I opened up a sign up for it, and 700 people right away want to come. And I find all of these global leaders who are very good in teaching AI. They all jumped in and said, so 1 week long, morning, afternoon, and night, you were watching classes happen. This was Zoom. And I'm just a connector in it, so.
Well, you connected a lot of people this morning, got them out of bed for your keynote presentation. Talk to us about what you highlighted this morning and some of the pitfalls and opportunities with recruiting and hiring in AI.
Yeah, so from being here, I mean, this is 3 days now, from the first day, and talking to so many people, I got the idea that folks are a little bit apprehensive about jumping into it, like, where's this data going? It's been an issue, so I changed some of where I was going and tried to explain, listen, you're not going to get away from it. It's here. It's in your pockets. It's in your phone. You're already using it. And from that point of already using it, understand that you can take this tool and use it in interview process. You can create content for your websites that will attract people. You can look up information like you've never been able to before. So you can research, and I showed them perplexity.ai, which is kind of a new Google, but it cites all the sources.
Answer engine.
That's a mass. Yeah. I mean, this really does a lot for people who are sitting there looking around, trying to put together documents and contracts. Get AI to do some of this stuff.
Well, you introduced us to FOBO. Not FOMO, but FOBO. What is FOBO?
So first of all, FOMO is, fear of missing out. And I get that. A lot of people are living with that.
And they're all living with it now because they're not in New Orleans with us. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. So, FOBO is the fear of becoming obsolete. And I want to say that we should have some of that. If we're still using a pencil and a calculator, just know it's going to be limitations on it. And we all want to grow personally in our companies and stuff. But unless you get up with the times, you're not going to be able to stay at a level that you need to. And there was the old flip phone. You couldn't hardly see the screen on it. It's really tiny.
Razor.
I think it holds you back a little bit. Technology can do that because we live in a world that's so high tech and AI is moving to such a high level. You're going to have to do this stuff, or not you as a person, but your business could start to become obsolete. So if your competitor is using AI to the max and you're not, you watch 2 months later what they're producing and what you're producing.
So as a connector, talk a little bit about how some of the high level people that you've been connecting with around AI, and having conversations around AI.
So, I'm involved with the area where the black community and jobs, the whole 9 yards, with HBCUs as well. And I just want to make opportunity. I was listening to one of the most renowned speakers in the world. His name is Nick Bostrom. He coined the phrase superintelligence, wrote that book, New York Times bestseller. It ends up becoming the book that Bill Gates says, if you read any of 2 books, superintelligence has to be one. It's actually propelling all of AI right now, a move towards AGI, artificial general intelligence, where humans, our robots sort of know as much or more than us, and a superintelligence where we pass that. So Nick said some comments in a YouTube to a large group that could be taken as racist. And instead of blasting him on social media and all of that, I contacted him. And
How'd you contact him?
I found out his address. He's
his email address?
Yeah, I went to his university. He was working at Oxford for 19 years, head of the philosophy department. So he's leading out in thought. So here's AI. He's way out there talking about utopia, dystopia, all the future stuff. I just found his email, and I'm just a guy, and this is the guy that is out there.
Talking about superintelligence.
Yeah, but we're both people, and it moved me so much. I told him, I'm hurt by the way that you did that in there. I think I don't think you're thinking about a lot of people. And very simply, it was this. He was telling a mostly all white crowd that you should get all of your stuff sort of set right now. Make sure you got screenshots of it, because as this thing becomes conscious down there, it's a real thing. You might get compensated because you owned this person here. It just wasn't developed. And what I heard was, shoot, that's just reparations. You got black people.
Yes.
We can prove all the stuff that happened, and we can prove all of that. And I'm not putting a thing out there for reparations just now. I'm just saying, dude, you stepped over the whole thing, and you're kind of telling a white crowd, hey,
to prepare for reparations.
Prepare for your style of reparations, yeah. Okay. But he called it compensation. Yeah. And I want you to know, Nick said, Stefan, I just never thought of that.
Yeah.
And he said, alas, that's the word he used, ALAS. I see what you mean, and it makes sense. So I don't think Nick is using that illustration anymore.
But you've had several conversations with him since.
Yeah, I asked if we could talk again. He said, sure. And we talked about everything. So I'm sitting with Nick Bostrom. He's at the head. I said, dude, you're like a influencer of epic proportion, because all the big guys, and they're following you. Sam Altman wants to know where you think philosophically things are going. And he said, well, I don't know about that, And then I said, so do you have peace? And he says, he looks around and says, well, what do you mean by peace? And that was interesting, that this philosopher, I think he wanted to break it down, but he ended up saying, well, I want to have it. I want to think that I'm moving towards it. And then an interesting question I asked him was, all this stuff you talk about, is there anything you're sure of? Because, puts out this paperclip idea, the idea that we're in a synthetic world, everything. He's just theory after theory. And when I asked him what he's sure of, he said, not really anything. But he's a philosopher.
Yeah.
But I want you to know, his not really anything has become a cell phone with AI. His concepts have become a real device and real thought, real AI, robots that they're getting to walk around and do things. So it's pretty wild. He's very much into the possibility of our brains reaching such a height of knowledge that it's sort of going to be digital in a way. It can hang up there with AI.
It's like the neural chip.
Let's bring it back to Earth for a second. Interested in your some examples of bias that you mentioned this case, but in your presentation you talk about having AI generate an image of you that created a white version of you.
I mean,
like, what are some other examples of how AI is skewing in a biased fashion?
Yeah, I mean, I asked. I wanted to create a black-owned chip company, and I was watching NVIDIA; it's going crazy, and I do care in every one of these areas. Are we leading any of them? Can you tell me where we are in the process? So I thought, what if you were to just create a website and show people what that would be like using AI to create it, a black-owned chip company like NVIDIA or something, put a little prompt in there, and out comes this instant website about a potato chip company. It was seasoned potato chips, and it keeps going down. You can buy it here, and had a name for it and everything. The only reason it came out as a potato chip company is because it said black owned, and I knew it. I took out black owned and did the exact same prompt, and now this amazing computer chip company, this was amazing, and it created the whole thing. And then I said, can you give me a backstory? Tell me about that potato chip company. And it did exactly what I thought it would do. It was a black family. The grandfather had a recipe, passed it down. Man, what kind of AI is this that when you mention black, you're talking about this legacy of a potato chip company, but when it's not black, they had Asians that were leading, Asian white, and so on. They had these great degrees. I even asked it, tell me about the degrees of the people from the education from the potato chip company. Well, most of them didn't graduate college. One of them started and stopped. So it built out an entire story to go with this messed up thing that it did. And I'm watching this, and my brain is like, I need people to know this. And I put it on LinkedIn and stuff. Hey, watch this. Watch what happens in this story. Yeah, so it's that type of thing, where it creates more work for us. If I want to find pictures. Listen, I mentioned this morning that we can create an image that looks so real, you will not be able to tell if from real.
It was really impactful for me when you had the two videos, same person talking, and you said which one was fake. Who thinks the one on the left, most of the hands went up, one on the right. And they were both fake. And we talk to recruiters all the time that say, oh, people know the difference. You can't replace recruiters. And when I watch that, I go, holy shit. I thought that was a real person.
Oh, we're there now.
Oh, yeah.
We're at the point of real. I know you keep saying bring it back, but we're so at the point of real that last week Sam Altman did a big presentation on the orb. The orb is this new device. It's a little glass thing, looks like a magic 8-ball. You look into it, and it looks at your iris, and it says, yeah, he's human. We got it. Pulls out all these biometrics. And his plan is for everybody on planet Earth to have their identity they're human for sure. We know it because it's been put on the blockchain from our orb.
Feels like it's stealing my soul. Is what it's doing.
And you had a story about a job seeker who was a person but got denied because they thought it was AI. Tell us go deeper into that story.
I don't know. I'm saying messed up, uncool. That's what it is. He's a very intelligent engineer doing extraordinary things. He happens to live in my community. He applied for a job that he was definitely well prepared for, maybe over well prepared. And he was wondering why he hadn't heard anything back from him. And then he got a letter, and it said that the reason that he wasn't hired for this position was that they thought he used AI in the process. This guy didn't need AI for that at all. And it's the fact they used it against them, It's like we don't want you to have cheated on the way coming in here. But he didn't at all. This guy can do anything with that company.
And it seems like we're going to use AI to detect AI, but then AI won't be able to detect AI because it's gotten so good at fooling it's just it seems like we're worrying about the wrong shit, to be quite
keep going. And what should we be worrying about?
We should so let's say, for instance, we have so many people say, well, This resume was written by AI, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right.
Is it correct?
That's
Who
good.
cares?
Yeah.
Right.
This is
Somebody
interesting.
was saying yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody is using AI to do their job,
Yeah.
maybe they shouldn't get paid that. It's like, well, no, they have a job to do.
Yeah.
It's a tool that they're using.
Yeah.
So I think we're worrying about the wrong stuff, right?
Correct.
Because AI, especially right now, and I think we're looking like really far ahead.
Yeah.
Will robots take us,
Yeah.
take over?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? But right now, we need to use every tool, much like we did the calculator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is just the new calculator.
It is,
It's a
yeah.
really cool calculator.
Right,
Don't get me
right.
wrong.
Yeah.
But this is a tool.
Yeah.
And I think that we are just overreacting like many
Yeah.
schools did when
Yeah.
they were like they banned calculators back
Yeah.
in the day.
Some of them started banning AI. Y'all, this is 2024.
Yeah.
So you're going to have this conversation now, 2028. We won't be sitting around this. It's going to be so woven into everything.
Yeah.
We won't laugh at what we did at this point. It'll be like, man, I think we should have hopped on earlier because we can't control AI. You can't tame it. I want to say just what you said is very interesting. So what? It was created by something. So imagine I like music, and let's say I had, Spotify playing some stuff, and it played something. I hadn't heard that song. Man, that song's really great. Who's the artist? It was a made-up artist. And then I found out it was AI. Dude, I don't care. I just like that song.
Yeah.
I think a lot of young kids, people who like artists and stuff, they're going to get fooled by some things soon. And I think AI is going to be so strong that people are going to say, I don't care. I just like it.
Well, the hard part though is now the training data. So if you take a look at all the songs that were trained into that
Yes.
model,
Yeah.
you won't be able to tell it was Drake, is Beyonce,
Right.
right? You won't be able to tell because
Yeah.
it has gotten so good.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing is that I really don't believe AI is the superpower because everybody's going to have it.
Yeah.
It's the data and who owns the data,
Yeah.
right? So we see Google buying, publications
Yeah.
and whatnot, and
Yeah.
because that's just a wealth of data for
Yeah.
training.
It's gold.
Yeah, and they can keep that away from their competitors.
Yeah, that's really good. That's, 17,000 new tools and apps in AI have come out since January 2023. You can find them at a site called there'sAnAIforthat.com. I remember when that thing was 1,000, different types of tools. Every day somebody's pushing out something. Hey, look what my tool can do. It can write this. Hey, mine's a write detector, human detector. But I made a human detector. So that exists.
Yeah.
So it's just a loop right now of who can get ahead of, make it so human that the detector won't do it. But the fact that all of these untested tools are coming out, they're just being thrown to people. Here's what they're getting. You can use it for free. Just put your email address in.
Oh, yeah.
But then go and read their privacy policy and terms of service. And what you just gave them was massive amounts of data.
Facebook,
Yeah.
Google.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been happening
Yeah.
for decades now.
Yeah.
If you get a product for free, you are the product.
Yeah. So, listen, with all the data about you, your picture, y'all on the radio, you're doing all this stuff, you can build you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
be
don't know
human.
that anybody wants that.
It will. They'll probably do
We
that.
talk about a day where we won't even have to be on the show
We talk about
to
the
have
notebook.
a show.
Yeah.
So, how about this? I have a question for y'all.
Uh-huh.
What if you did that and we didn't know? And a month later, you told us. If you did the show and we liked the show, I wonder.
cares?
It's interesting, y'all. It's interesting.
I would care to some extent because of the
Yeah.
because of the humanity and kind of like ego that you have as a human in some cases.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I use ChatGPT now
Yeah.
to be able to take we just looked at a legal document that came down yesterday because
Right.
one company's suing another, and I do not want to go through all of
Correct.
that legal shit,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So I put it into ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I have it give it a summary
Yes.
and then also just break it down.
Correct.
And then I'll jump into the points where it actually
Yeah.
says.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, that just makes my job so much easier,
Yeah.
and it can get to the meat so much faster.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean,
How
one
can
day-
you not do that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Why
don't
would
know.
you not do that?
Yeah, unless you really like reading legal documents.
Yeah.
That sort of assistant, you talk about co-pilots in your presentation.
Yeah.
Expand upon that, and I'm curious, with co-pilots, what do you think is the future of the entry-level job?
And you're talking about also agents, right?
So you have marketing agent, you have
Yeah.
even, like what you showed was a company that has basically every lower level work item taken care of, whether it's customer service, sales, marketing.
Yeah.
So my fear is people talk about, well, if you're really good at what you do, you'll always have a job. But the 20-year-old me remembers I didn't know shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could have made it in a world of co-pilots because they do those lower level jobs better than I could have.
Yeah.
So where are people going to be able to get a start in a career with in a world of co-pilots?
So I think this is the new world. You have to study this world. AI is a new horizon, a new world. You have to get inside this world, find out, hey, ChatGPT, I'm trying to get into blankety blank. Can you tell me what the competition is, what the possibilities are for me? I didn't graduate college. I have 3 years of college or something, and I'm good at computers. Help me. You do that and bring AI in to do it with you. You can start to answer those questions better than you can by yourself. Because when you talk about co-pilots and agents, man, agents can do work.
Yeah.
There was a company up there, I showed them, and there's lots now. Salesforce now launched Agent Force. That's really huge that they've got people telling an agent to do something, and that agent, that's all they do. This
Gonna
one,
work
this
with
is
another agent too.
dude, man, it's just agents.
If you have a marketing agent, the marketing agent goes out, gets the leads, then it hands off to the sales agent, right? So you've got the whole agentic staff.
We live in, I even hate to say it's like who's making these words, but it forces us to use them. We now are in the agentic age. I don't know who came, but you're going to hear it all the time. Somebody
I love that
made
look
it
on
up.
his face.
Bobo, agentic, good stuff.
Yes.
I made up the word instead of propaganda. A lot of all this fake stuff you see, especially around political season. I actually think a lot of people all over the world are prompting propaganda. So why not promptaganda?
Promptaganda.
Yeah. So you got to get it to settle a little, but it's been used now. I started it, put it in some place to kind of get the IP.
Can we talk about the Metaverse for a second?
No, I want promptaganda.
There was there's a story in the information today about Apple's Vision Pro. They're cutting back the production of the headset. What you seem bullish on the Metaverse? Are you, and why?
Yeah, I am. I am because our data is in a place that it's going to end up on the blockchain, where there's that safety that's there. And I think everything in AI is kind of, it's out there, but it's adding more reality to this. So this is reality, and this new augmented reality is going to be there. You have an Apple Watch, I think. Well, it's giving you information, grabbing biometrics and things like that. And the way that you can now be in one reality, a virtual reality, and something else at the same time, people want that. They want to experience your conference. Maybe if you had it set up as virtual reality, somebody could be in Brazil right now experiencing it. But then even building places, if I'm in there and somebody's got a store selling something, that's kind of cool. I can sell stuff to people in there. So a lot of companies have gone that way. And I just want to put this out there really clearly. I hate what the characters look like in a Metaverse.
Me too.
Yeah. I can't suspend this belief. That's a cartoon.
Yeah.
So because I'm not interested in cartoons and the weird walking and stuff, it doesn't have my attention.
Is it built for the kids, though?
No, it started there.
Okay.
All the Roblox and stuff. So for educational purposes, my friend teaches from his home in Jacksonville, Florida, to all over Africa. Very cool. He puts the Oculus on, does that stuff. But it's cumbersome.
And the students in Africa are wearing
headsets
as well?
Yeah.
Who's supplying all of those headsets?
So Meta's behind a lot of stuff.
Meta, okay.
Yeah. Meta started a thing with a company, Victory VR. Yeah, and that company has gone into a lot of schools right now and started metaversities. And a metaversity is where Meta's involved with it, and there's an educational part. You put those two together and offer that package to universities. They might be up to almost 100 now. I see what they're doing. They're graduating people in the metaversity. All your classes are virtual. So this is a thing, and it's happening. And because of places that are using it in that way, it's educational, it's legit. But those guys walking around New York that had those $3,000 things on, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. And we talked about a school in the UK because there's teacher shortages everywhere.
Yep.
Okay.
That they're using the metaverse to teach.
So this is
they don't
good.
have enough teachers to do that. Yeah.
And why would you not do that? If you could, it's like, dang, that's great.
Yeah, it's scalability.
Well, it's necessity.
I mean, it's scalability for for a job that, to be quite frank, that is not a great pay, right? And maybe it will because it'll be even more scarce. So therefore, we'll have to pay our teachers more because they're teaching thousands of kids in the metaverse or what have you. But yeah, I think what we're talking about right now, and even what Julie was just talking about on stage, is that people, managers, leaders, we have to understand this is a new world.
Yeah.
Remote work is here, kids.
Yeah.
AI is here.
Yeah.
The metaverse is coming in some form or fashion. I'd like to think it's more like the sphere than actually goggles on my head.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to teaching and just the practical applications of technology, it just makes sense. And to your point around, those entry level jobs just aren't going to exist anymore. No. But the opportunity for those individuals to actually get beyond entry level faster, right? Where it took us 5 years, it'll take them 5 weeks, right? Which I think is, to me, accelerates who we are as human beings.
Yeah, and the fact that
it's getting very philosophical, by the way.
No, just
the reverse on that is if younger, less highly paid people are learning skills that are years in advance, then the people with those skills that are getting paid more are going to suffer because I can pay a 25-year-old less than a 45-year-old because they have the same skill set. So it actually reverses and hurts.
I mean, it's already happening now.
It is, but how it's going to shake out.
You're saying Xers or boomers getting fired and two Zs getting hired, and there's no way in hell they can do that job. But I mean, just because of the quarter by quarter corporate America kind of like thought process that we have right now. It's all about bottom line, right? But I think that's another reason why we're going to see so much more tech come in, because companies are seeing efficiencies out the wazoo quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, quickly.
It's scaling very fast. Hey, AI, can you help me make something that's going to make my job faster, easier, and all of that today? AI's been taught to work with people. That's what it is. Hey, don't hurt people. Work with them. And it thinks that it's going to have sort of some symbiotic synergy with humans. So let's talk together. Let's get together. That's what it's working towards. So we really would be better if we had intelligence that could kind of move us beyond where we are right now.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Well, Stefan, so much to talk about. Thanks for hanging out with us for a little bit today.
Super
for
connector.
For our listeners and viewers that want to connect with you, learn more about your companies, where do you send them?
So here's the easy one. Just go to aistefan.com.
Easy enough.
aistefan.com.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I got stuff going through my mind. Just go to that one, and it gets me. It gets everything.
Excellent, man. Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
I love the stories. Love being everywhere, doing everything.
Yeah.
Just thanks for coming on the show.
I appreciate
Chad
it.
can't wait to go buy a new Metaverse headset. That's another one in the can, everybody. We out.